What's going on, everybody? So, I've been thinking about the Steam Deck
Does it hurt?
and the Nintendo Switch 2, and how a lot of people on YouTube have been comparing the two. And I've been thinking about exactly if the Steam Deck can really match up to something as convenient like the Nintendo Switch 2.
Today I learned the Steam Deck is struggling to keep up with the Switch 2 in terms of convenience. Even though they're both handheld systems, they both have basically the same control scheme. They're both handheld devices that you use to play games, and you download games straight from the source that's built into the OS, and you're gonna have to work harder on this one. That was just a weird thing to have in your opening statement. One of these handheld gaming systems is just it's just struggling to keep up in the convenience of this other handheld gaming system that I haven't tried yet.
And honestly, I don't think so. For about 80% of the time, I had almost a perfect experience with the Steam Deck.
Fellow Steam Deck owner here, I've had, I think, no actual problems with the Steam Deck, now that I think about it. Call me a Valve shill, but I literally can't think of a single time where I've had a major inconvenience with the Steam Deck, or even a mild inconvenience with the Steam Deck. I think it's a great product.
But even though I'm using SteamOS, sometimes I run into issues, like the redistributables installing randomly on startup.
Wait, really? A random file installation or update that never happens anywhere except the Steam Deck? Your desire to play a game and your pressing of the play button has never been interrupted with a random update anywhere but the Steam Deck?
Or SteamOS just freezing up for some reason. Games consistently having either input delays or errors.
I've never experienced any of those things. Like, to each their own, I guess, but I wasn't aware that the Steam OS freezing and games having errors was like a widespread problem on the Steam Deck. I was under the impression that these were things that were vastly overblown by people who don't really have that much experience with it. Like, I'm not saying the Steam OS is perfect. I'm not saying games never have issues or errors, but like, it's not some widespread problem. I can tell you that from experience.
With the game just not responding at all to any inputs through Steam input.
I also think it's funny that you bring this up as the intro to the video, comparing this to the Switch 2, a system you haven't used, by the way. But even if you want to compare this to the Switch 1, are you prepared to say the Switch 1 it never has any errors? It never freezes up on you? There's never any technical problems at all in the Switch 1? I mean, this video is literally called Nintendo Do What Steam Deck Don't. How can you possibly imply that these are problems the Switch 2 isn't going to have? You literally don't know that.
Proton versions needing to be sifted through and tested for specific titles with certain features not working, such as the sound, video, or sometimes even specific stages crashing on you, like with one of my favorite games, Prototype.
A game from the Xbox 360 era. I'm not saying that it's perfectly excusable for older games to not run well on the Steam Deck, but I mean, there's a couple instant issues I'm going to take with this. If your big example game of why the Steam Deck is full of problems that the Switch 2 isn't going to have, if your big example game is Prototype, a game from the Xbox 360 era, like, yeah, it's not that surprising that the game has issues running on modern hardware. It doesn't not run on modern hardware, it just has some little hiccups, because, it's 15 years old? Running on a handheld device that wasn't even a dream in anyone's brain at the time that it came out. Also, I love when people try to do this comparison. Like, oh, the Switch 2 is better than the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck struggles with Prototype. Can the Switch 2 play Prototype at all? Like, yeah, some older games have hiccups on modern hardware. Tell me more about how those games run on the other hardware. Oh, wait, they don't.
About 5 hours into the game, it turns out the main Proton usually doesn't work with that title, but most people think that the game is playable because, well, they've only played about 2 hours of Prototype 1.
Oh, most people have only played 2 hours of Prototype 1. Interesting. I love just painting with a gigantic brush. Listen, guys, most people who play Prototype, they only play a couple hours. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to what other people say about Prototype. If other people play Prototype and they have no problems with it, don't listen to them. They probably only played a couple hours based on literally nothing that I've shown you or told you. I'm just, making assumptions. Why not? I have points to make. I got a shill for Nintendo.
And assume the game works, but I am a huge fan of the game, so I have to complete the game at least once, especially while playing it in handheld. So do I think the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be better than the Steam Deck? Hell yeah, of course I do.
Because of Prototype. Because of these technical issues that I have absolutely no evidence will not be a problem on the Switch 2. But also because of Prototype. And you guys don't know that because, you only played 2 hours of it. I'm not denying that there's technical issues on the Steam Deck. Like I'm sure there's plenty. I haven't experienced any of them. I'm sure some people have. It's a PC. There's going to be some hiccups. Just like there's going to be hiccups on any kind of hardware. I just find it funny that in this video, meant to be a favorable comparison of the Switch 2 to the Steam Deck, you say right there the Switch Deck is going to be better than the Steam Switch Deck. You say right there the Switch 2 is going to be better than the Steam Deck. Hell yeah, it's going to be better. I just think it's funny that your opening arguments are based on technical problems that not many people are going to experience and some technical hiccups that not everyone's going to experience on a game that's like 15 years old and doesn't exist on Nintendo platforms. It's just not a great opening statement. You're not doing a great job framing this.
First of all, it's backed up by $1 billion company.
Oh, interesting. So if something is backed up by $1 billion company, that means it's a good product, right? $1 billion company means it's surely it's going to be better because there's a bunch of money behind it. That's a healthy mindset. I guess all you indie developers can just go fuck yourselves.
And of course, Steam is also a big company, and considering what they've done with the Steam Deck...
Steam is not a company. Valve is the company. Steam is not a company. Are you AI? I'm having trouble telling if this is an AI voiceover or if it's just a really awkward sounding person. Either way, I don't like listening to you. And also, Steam is not a company.
It is incredibly impressive, but they don't have enough clout or power to pull companies to modify and optimize games specifically for the Steam Deck, similar to how Nintendo does with the Nintendo Switch 2.
Valve, not Steam, Valve absolutely incentivizes companies to optimize games for the Steam Deck. That's the whole point of the verified sticker. That little green check mark, that's the whole point of it, is that's the incentive to get companies to optimize the Steam Deck version, or at least optimize the game in a way that makes it run well on the Steam Deck. And then if you get that verification, you get put into a category on Steam that's like, plays great on Steam Deck, popular on Steam Deck. There absolutely is incentive for companies to optimize their games for the deck. I'm not sure where you're getting the idea that there's not. But then there's also just the simple fact that even if a game is not properly optimized for the Steam Deck, it doesn't mean it's going to run poorly. It just means it's not going to be specifically optimized for it. I've played plenty of games on my Steam Deck that don't have it's so special green check mark, and I've had absolutely zero problems with them. Dark Souls 2 being the big one. I've put a couple dozen hours into that game on Steam Deck. It's not Steam Deck verified, or at least not vanilla Dark Souls 2. It has the yellow marker, not the green one, the yellow one. Ooh, scary. And I've had literally no problems with it. It ironically runs better than some of the green checkmark games that I've played. Not to say those green checkmark games run poorly, but you should see the point I'm making here. The Steam Deck is a PC. It's not a console, it's a PC. So you don't really have to, specifically optimize it for the Steam Deck like you do a console. It's not that simple on the PC. And that's fine. That's just the nature of the platform. That's just differences between the PC and the console as platforms. But where do you get off saying Valve doesn't incentivize it? I don't even remember what wording you used. It doesn't strong arm them, but Valve absolutely incentivizes developers to optimize their games for the Steam Deck or get their games running well on the Steam Deck. There are a lot of rewards for that. There's the Steam Deck Verified badge. There's the Plays Great on Steam tag. Or the fucking Steam Deck tags on the Steam store page. Do you actually have experience on the Steam Deck, or did you download a couple games, find a couple issues, and then move on? Because that's kind of what it sounds like.
Of course, it does take more time, but every game that is optimized for Nintendo, either Nintendo Switch 1 or 2, is going to play, by definition, perfectly.
Okay, I see what we're doing here. Every Switch game, Switch 1 or 2, every Switch game is going to run perfectly? My boy, how soon we forget Mortal Kombat on the Switch? How soon we forget Hyrule Warriors? How soon we forget Tears of the Kingdom? Joe, Tears of the Kingdom, it's a great game. Yeah, sure, it runs like fucking ass, though. We're not talking about the quality of the games or the design of the games. He said the games run perfectly. Are you gonna look me in the face balls and tell me Tears of the Kingdom runs perfectly? Because it fucking doesn't. Plenty of games on the Switch have had subpar performance, or major performance issues, or major glitches. And I wasn't even going to talk about that until you started talking about that. Are we really about to say that Valve doesn't have the clout to get games running really well on the Steam Deck, but the Switch, all of them run perfectly? Bro, Mortal Kombat looked like this. Hyrule Warriors got down to 12 frames per second or something. How are we even doing this right now? I love this thing that people do when they're trying to make a comparison between their favorite system and the system that they don't like, the system they're trying to pull people from to their favorite system. And like, instead of explaining why you think your system is better, you just start fucking lying about the other one. Why do you do this? I wouldn't be making this video if you didn't do that.
And I've always been optimistic about the Nintendo Switch 2's hardware. I'm hearing that it's more powerful than the Steam Deck, and there's no doubt about that.
On paper, yes. In performance, we'll see. Because, I mean, again, it's a PC. It's not a console. It's a PC. You have more customization with the way games run. And I mean, you seem to think the Switch runs everything perfectly, so I don't know why I would listen to your opinion on game performance. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Considering around the time where they started developing the hardware for this handheld console hybrid, it lands around the same time as the Steam Deck's development. But instead, they're using one of my favorite company's CPUs, the NVIDIA Tegra chip.
Okay, this is AI. This has to be AI. They're using one of my favorite company's CPUs, NVIDIA. Like, You're AI. You're AI. You probably are made of NVIDIA.
And I think that NVIDIA overall has a better reputation than AMD. But as of recent, AMD is proving to be better when it comes to lower power performance. So it's a bit of a tie at this point. But for me personally, if I had to pick one, it would be an NVIDIA graphics card.
Of course it would, because you don't actually know anything about this. It's like, yeah, NVIDIA's shitting the bed at every opportunity, and AMD is proving themselves over and over and over again to be very viable competition. And you're like, listen, I'm the tech expert here. I choose NVIDIA for no real reason.
Opposed to an AMD one. Everybody knows about RTX, and lately, not many people have been noticing a big change within the 40 to 50 series cards.
Yeah, that sounds like a reason to not go with NVIDIA, right? Like, oh, we're not really noticing a difference between the 40 and 50 cards. So why were you going with NVIDIA? This is another thing that terrible videos do. They'll try to like frame themselves as an authority on the subject and then just openly not know what they're talking about and like completely contradict themselves sentence to sentence. Like, I like NVIDIA better than AMD. Immediately gives reason to not go with NVIDIA over AMD. Ah, yes, I understand. I totally believe you. You know everything about PC tech, 100%.
And at this point, it's redundant to even talk about the upgrades that come with the future graphics cards by NVIDIA. But in terms of CPU, everybody is curious to see if NVIDIA is going to bring that to normal PC handhelds opposed to something like a Nintendo Switch. But for now, all we have is an NVIDIA handheld through Nintendo, which is kind of the best thing ever.
Wait, hang on. So you openly acknowledge the fact that NVIDIA is not doing a great job right now with their PC gaming tech, but NVIDIA is in the Switch too, and that makes it... Wow. I mean, at least you're upfront about this. Holy shit.
And as most people saw, Street Fighter 6 plays almost as good as the PlayStation 5 version, which is very hard to believe. But seeing a lot of the screenshots, Street Fighter 6 on Nintendo Switch 2 does look a lot better than it does on the PlayStation 4.
Street Fighter also runs on a competent engine and is capped at relatively low performance because it's a fighting game. Like, it's supposed to run at 60 frames. It's supposed to maintain that 60 frames basically no matter what because it's a fighting game and frame data exists. I would hope it runs well on the Switch 2. I'm happy it runs well on the Switch 2, or seems to run well on the Switch 2. No one has a Switch 2 yet, so we don't actually know if it's going to run that well. But I'm happy it seems to be running well on the Switch 2, but it's not a good benchmark for what the hardware is capable of, because of the nature of these caps in fighting games. You're not capable of looking at the big picture, so you don't understand this.
And it's very close to the PlayStation 5 version, with a few effects missing here and there.
Oh, effects are missing. I thought everything runs perfectly.
And I can't get anything even close to that on the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck version does play almost perfect, but it has a lot of stuttering within the game world, and it doesn't look good at all. If anything, it looks worse than the PlayStation 4 version, but plays just as good.
Wait, it plays just as good, but doesn't look as good. So that's the problem? It's like it's all a problem? Because it doesn't look as good, because obviously it doesn't. It's a handheld version, but it plays as good, which should be what matters in a fighting game, or really just any video game at all. What matters is how it plays, not how it looks. You are all over the fucking place.
So I guess if there's any point to this video, it's would I recommend a Steam Deck over the Nintendo Switch 2? Of course not. Honestly, first time playing a game on the Steam Deck takes around 8 minutes just to figure out exactly how to start the thing up with all the redistributables installing.
No. Please stop lying about something I can literally just look over. To my left, it's literally right there. Takes 8 minutes to get it running. No, you turn on the system, you log into Steam, you click install on a game, you click play. You don't have to manually do all the redistributable. You don't have to manually do that shit. It just does it on its own. This is what I was saying before. By this logic, nothing on the Switch is simple either, because sometimes Switch games have updates. You have to wait for all the redistribute. Yeah, I have to wait such a long time for this progress bar that just goes on its own. I don't have to think about it at all.
Without any kind of progress bar on the screen. It just tells you to wait a minute, but it takes like 5 minutes to start up a game.
That's just not true. I've never had a game take 5 minutes to start up on the Steam Deck. The longest I've had to wait for a game just to start, I don't know, 20 seconds? 30 seconds?
And then you have to go through the graphic settings. It's not easy.
Oh, graphic settings. Interesting. So the thing you don't actually have to change, because it's an additional feature, you don't have to change the graphic settings. It'll automatically boot the game to the graphic settings that are most suitable for this hardware that you're playing on. So most of the time, you don't even have to change graphic settings on the Steam Deck at all. But also, how interesting it is that, again, console fanboy does not understand that a graphics menu is an advantage. You don't have that on the console. Ugh, I had to customize my graphics. Yeah, bro, what a fucking hassle it is to make the game run better. I can turn down the graphics and get better frame rates out of it? Ugh, what a hassle that is. Oh, I don't have to do any of this. I can just leave it the way it is and play the game the way it is when it boots up. But the graphics menu exists? Ugh. It's terrible. I hate it.
If anything, it is a little cumbersome and daunting to start a game for the first time on the Steam Deck.
It literally is not. You click play and you start playing the game. You don't have to do any of this.
But usually the default settings on something like SteamOS does work with the hardware that you're using, even if you're using something like an ROG Ally or Legion Go with SteamOS.
Wait, I thought we were talking about the Steam Deck. Why are we bringing up other handhelds? Is this just you trying to complicate things and make the Switch 2 sound better? Cause I think it is.
It automatically reads what kind of hardware you have and sets the game's preset to that specific hardware.
So everything you just said is irrelevant.
So it is easy just to start up the game, but it takes a while and it is a bit concerning the first time you start up any game. And certain games, specifically like Street Fighter 6, require an internet connection whenever you haven't played the game for long enough.
Oh, games that require an internet connection. It's a good thing the Switch 2 won't have any of those. Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. My brain is on fire. I have to stop. I can't do this. Look, the Steam Deck is a fantastic product. I love it. But the thing that's bothering me so much, and the main reason I wanted to make this video, is not just the complete nonsense points you've been making, but also the things that you're not saying. Look at the title of this video again. Nintendo do what the Steam Deck don't. And to some extent, I agree. The Switch does charge you more for games. The Switch does force you to pay to play your own games online. The Switch does put you at risk of your console bricking if you do anything with it that Nintendo doesn't like. The Switch does refuse to have cheaper games because Nintendo doesn't respect you as a consumer. The Switch does have a drastically smaller library of games, both old and new, both Nintendo first party and third party. The Steam Deck has more first party Nintendo games than the Switch does because the Steam Deck has actual competent emulation and is not run by a greedy company like Nintendo. And it's like I've been saying throughout the video, if you want to make the comparison between the Steam Deck and the Switch and you think the Switch is better, make that comparison. What you've been doing throughout this video is just kind of fucking lying about things. And that's why I'm taking issue with it. So, bollocks to you, fucking portable mode, whatever your stupid channel name is. This video is awful. I'm not buying a Switch 2, but I am going to do the Doofus Club now. And then we're going to edit this real quick and get it scheduled for tomorrow. I'm recording this on Friday because I got to go out of town. Is it going up tomorrow? No, it's going up Sunday. I'll put this up Sunday. And then I'll make another video on like Monday or Tuesday. Yeah. Joe Pookie, please join voice chat more. Official Dregs, Mash Star, Rip and Tear is what my PP says. When Pandy, Bear Brain, Epion 504, Grimsy, Edge Knight 1789, Ass Rip 3, and DeVito until it is done. Kushka, Nate, it's Murkoff, Brand, of course it's safe. Unicorn Rocco, Wild Gamer 2001, Opossum, Blender Fondue, Edna Mega Hero Culture, Ass Ripper 69 420. I hate living around a bunch of broke people. Tom from Spokane, Dial Up, Kyle Ward 789, Sense Nakage, Non-Vol Law Master Killer, The Return of the King, but he's upside down. George from Seattle, Partial Lane 8, Nick, Mole Theme, Vogue Salto, Cloaked Onyx, JJ Dusty, Hail Denuva, Pub Cod, Stop It, Codman 4372WX, Joe, it's the Gamer 127YT, not 127WT, get it memorized, Oblivion Remasters Game of the Year, Celerock, Gold Pyrex, Zombie Fan, Alderoth 01, I'ma cut you nuts, Joe, Doug, Nixie Smile, Blast 1314, Snake Eyes 327, Devastator 8 2000, oh fuck, Devastator 2000, Joe, please let us touch tip, you sexy man, MK2396E, I'm still in the moat, Joe, please get help, Hentai X, Machina Gamma, Elite Wolf, Fire Hazard 105, Klepto Penguin, Banshee, GWXSS, Rast the Wolf, Evan Co, Okitoodles, Tech Gaming, Jungle Zone, Slim Jim, Really Sir, Gaming with the People, All Games Video, Japanese Name, Max Killer V2 Gaming, Biscuit 1101, Todd Howard's Our Lord and Savior, Horizon Forbidden Western Master, Prograph for the Backing, Disco Shepherd, Riki Spell, Ricky Kadabi, Muskie, I'm not hyped for Guardians, I'm not hyped for GTA 6, it doesn't look that interesting to me, Crewman the Steel Angel, everything is better than the Switch 2, Sergeant Jason Bond, Baron von Vaderham, Astrober 69, Don't Call Me a Doofus, that hurts my feelings, Sujack Skin 940, Bing 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 Bong, Thing Bing Ting Ling Ring Ying, the first Doofus, Creed Warrior 23, Max the Chev, Chap is going away for a while, take care for now, Totally Insane Vendetta Audrey, Black Cobra, the Enwa Slayer, Knight of Cypher, ML04, Iron 6, Copies of Click 2006 on Blu-ray, Oh No, It's Poopsie, Wolf of Midnight, Stig Rider, Pig Venus, Kev Dog 1992, Steve Wynn Studios, Film Kraken, Ohm Gaming, Tariq Brown, Thorn Skate, Mag Next, Everyone's Evans, Spawning with 3, it's the Carolina Figure Wine Mix, Pow Pow, White Trouble, Donnie Weston, Nick Donegan, Draws Mex on Twitch, Come Hang Y'all, Gob Gobson, Rogue Winter 919, Bobby Hinner, Coke Mofus, Hangman for Hire, Elden Lenovo, Frost Crystal, Jimmy Chops, Biogenesis, Ian in Action, Floppy Pinkus 97, Mega Key, Scrippy Skull, Ghost, Ho, Ryusagi, Jojo 6, Vast Growth, Femtega, Raptor, Tim, Amazing Blight, Man, Blue Hook, Willie, JJ, Snorlax, and Mr. Techno Breeze, Jody Breeze, Mr. Techno Squeak, Jody Breeze, Smitty Worker, Jaegerman, Jensen, Max Little, The Cool Arrow, Mick Advertising, Diego Garcia, JJ Dusty, A. Mike Kibbigans, I American 80, Rebel Blood 80, Big Fudge, Oracle, Darth Muffin, Oh No, It's Justin, Randwood, 20 Mechanical Resonance, Extendable 7, Joey Scoops, My Name is Mud, Joe Taku, Recoven, Arcoholic, Wannabe Hobo, Jidge, Westhead Bullet, 3 Char, Rob C, Veg, The Groove of Banana, Curtin Allen's Pack, Wear a May Dress, once you hit 20k, Joe, The Last Melon. Oh boy, okay. We're gonna put that on YouTube. I don't know why I said it like that, I'm sorry. Toodles.